So, hi there, my name is Lily Cook, and welcome to the Weight Loss Information Night. Tonight, we'll be teaching you about how to lose weight and maintain this weight loss within a healthy and sustainable. So, here's our introductory slide. Sort of looking at this picture, we're going to focus on whole foods and that kind of way of eating in order to achieve our weight loss goals. Of course, it is about calories in, calories out. However, as a trainer, I would always recommend that you choose whole foods over, sort of processed and those kind of foods. So what I wanted to do is just welcome you all. And as I said, the focus will be on an achievable, maintainable, and healthy weight loss. Within this information night, I'm going to help you to understand what the dietary guidelines are and how you can apply them to your current diet and lifestyle. And then I'm also going to show you how you can individualize these dietary guidelines and follow a healthy diet in order to fit your personal preferences, your training schedule, and to enhance your recovery. So, as I mentioned before, the aim of this challenge will be weight loss. By this, what we will help you do is understand what energy intake is and energy expenditure. As I said, how to eat according to your current training regime, and also the importance of prioritizing recovery and sleep and how you can do this. So, beginning with the timetable, as this is a weight loss challenge over 8 weeks, what we will provide for you is specialised training on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. This will be strength training. There'll be 2 classes at 6 and 7 a.m. On those days, and correspondingly at night there will be a 5 and a 6 p.m. class. So with our strength training, this will be a resistance training program. These are sort of the imperative training sessions that you do have to get to. On Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, cardio will be there and available for you as optional. So you'll be able to use machines, and the challenge trainers will be there to give you recommendations. This won't necessarily be a class, but you'll have different, cardio protocols, like sort of low steady state training, or you could have a HIIT protocol, or whatever we work out that's going to be best for you, and that you can do those in your own time on those days. Also, the last thing we're going to focus on is NEAT, which is non-exercise activity thermogenesis. That's just basically what we do and how we move when it's not just programmed exercise. So for that, we'll be looking at daily steps. Again, that will be individual to you. Once you have your consultation with one of the trainers, we will work out what's a good step goal for you. This will, of course, depend on your work and your timetable and what you do every day, but we'll try and find something that works for you. So we're just going to delve into barriers and some barriers that we may experience when going through a calorie deficit and focusing on weight loss. One barrier that I see with a lot of clients is in a weight loss phase and feeling hungry, and how to deal with this kind of hunger. We need to know and understand that when calories are restricted, we are going to feel hungry at times. Of course, we don't want you feeling as though you're starving and that you're depleted and that you can't do anything. And we won't feel like that, because we will set calorie goals that will be beneficial to you. And they won't be too extreme. However, we need to understand that a small little bit of hunger in weight loss is normal and will happen, and it can get hard at times, but we just need to look at it for the bigger picture. As I said, we don't want to feel entirely starving, and if we feel as though your calories are too low or too high, we'll of course sit with you and try and work this out. This is important to, though, keep in mind those levels of hunger when we do when we feel hungry. It's important to keep in mind that it can be tough, but that is kind of the case and what can happen in a challenge like this. I would suggest using strategies of distraction to sort of get over this. So just remove yourself from the food environment. If you're with a group of friends that aren't as supportive and there's not available food, or in the house you want to take out anything that you feel as though you could have sort of an episode of eating it, then definitely do that. I like to do things like go for a walk, meditation, things of imagery and visualization, visualizing why you're doing this and what the importance and how you're going to feel after this and the importance of this challenge. Even meeting a friend for coffee, anything that makes you feel sort of calm. And then when we are calm about our health, we can sort of make better decisions regarding our health. Another barrier I see with a lot of clients is muscle soreness, and how do we deal with muscle soreness, and how do we train when we're feeling so sore, and is this soreness normal? All these questions are things that we think after training. And so once we do begin this training regime, I can guarantee that most of you are going to be pretty sore within the first 1 to 2 weeks. It's only because our muscles aren't primed for that kind of intensity. And those movements, especially if we've come from sort of a beginner background or we haven't been training at the moment, this is normal. It's just because we're increasing the load that's applied to our muscles, and that's what's making us sore. But after a few weeks, because our muscles have been working, this will reduce the severity of this. And remember that you're just sore in those first 2 weeks, and that can calm down. Not only that, but we also need to understand that being sore doesn't indicate that we've had a good workout. Being sore just means those muscles haven't really gone through that motion or that pattern of training for a while. So don't be alarmed when you're not feeling as sore. It doesn't mean you're working less hard. It just means your muscles actually know what's going on at the moment, basically, if that's how I can explain it. It's important, however, to reduce soreness and to prioritize pre and post recovery. So by this, what you need to ensure is that you're doing your proper mobility before your training. We will do that in the strength training, and that you're stretching after, which we will also do. But when you're doing your cardio, make sure you think about these kind of things. What we'll do as well is be specific to your mobility on the day. So, for example, when we have leg day, we'll do specific mobility around our glutes, hamstrings, quads, calves, and that kind of thing. And the same with our stretching, just to make sure we really enhance that recovery of those muscles. What we're also going to look at is how to read food labels. So at the back of each food, there will have a ingredients table and also have a nutrition table. So in a nutrition table, what will be in there are things like calories, carbohydrate, fat, protein, as well as sodium, fiber, sugar, saturated fats, and some minerals. Basically, our calories in the back of there, it's just the overall calories in that food. Carbohydrate, protein, and fat we will look at, and I'll be able to show you throughout this weight loss challenge what are higher protein foods, how we can make some good choices, and how we can look at the back of those labels and understand if that's necessarily going to be a good choice for us. Is that going to keep us satiated? Does it have a high amount of fiber? Does it have a good amount of dietary fat? Is it too high in refined sugars? All of those things we will look at throughout this 8-week challenge, and we will be able to delve into those issues a little bit further as we go on. So R&R, rest and recovery. This is talking about the days that we have a rest day. It's what we do to recover. Recovery isn't only stretching and mobility and that kind of stuff. Recovery can be mental recovery, making you feel sort of okay to keep going with training and doing things of relaxation. It's really important that we prioritize our mental health in challenges like this, and so we can stay calm and focused as well. We don't want to feel as though we're hating the process. It should be an enjoyable process. What we sometimes don't know is that training is actually a stress on the body. So it does bring our heart rate up. It does drive up our sympathetic nervous system. And especially without prioritizing recovery, this can leave us feeling worse than better if we do too much exercise without recovery, especially coupled with lower calories, having DOMS or muscular pain, having, a stressful job or something going on in our lives and stress in, our lives. It can just fire up our sympathetic nervous system, make us feel not as good. So this is what we call our fight or flight response in our sympathetic nervous system, and it kind of signals to our brain that we're in fear. But really, long story short, what we want to do is, if we do have exercise and low calories and stress and work, we kind of want to bring all that down when we can as well. So that's why it is really important that we do focus on rest, getting enough sleep, most importantly, recovery, stretching, meditation, taking a bath, having a massage, anything that you feel as though is going to really bring down our nervous system and really send us into that parasympathetic nervous system, which is what, helps us to rest, helps with digestion. That's kind of really important. And as I said, it's really important that you just do what works for you. Obviously, sleep is paramount and getting enough sleep. But things like meditation, stretching, relaxation, having a cup of tea, watching a movie, seeing a friend, just whatever you can do to really enhance recovery is optimal. Another question is often, how much water should I drink? What we need to know with water intake is it's entirely individual, based on that person's preferences, based on how much their body needs, based on how much they train, based on whether they have other water containing beverages throughout the day. There's a lot of things that we'll take into consideration with water. So it's not good to just have a blanket rule of, have 2 liters a day or something like that. What we should understand, though, is that especially if we're in a non-training state, water should always be increased when training. If you do an intense training session, you should aim to have about 1 litre at least more water than what you would do on a day that you don't train. As a general rule of thumb, water intake is often calculated by the equation 0.033 times body weight. So, for example, for a 60 kilo person, 0.033 times 60 is approximately 2. So that would give you a baseline figure of 2 litres of water. Again, this should be manipulated by training, fluid loss, salt, and therefore more hydration may be required. Okay, guys, just some frequently asked questions before we finish. One can be, how many hours of cardio do I need to be doing? Cardio is not imperative. It just helps us with the calorie deficit. So if we were potentially wanting to eat a little bit more and happy to train a little bit more, then we'd probably chuck in a little bit more cardio. But if you're someone that hates cardio, only wants to do a little bit or bare minimum, then we just probably bring your calories down. So what it does is it just helps people sort of achieve that calorie deficit without feeling too restricted with their food. It also depends on the individual. Some people really lose weight really easily. Some people need to sort of drive it up a little bit and do that a little bit more exercise. So that's kind of something that we'll play with throughout the challenge, and we'll just keep it individual to you. Also, if you like doing it, some people like doing it, some people don't. And that's more so what we'll look at. Another question is, how much protein should I be eating? Again, this one's also subject to the individual. According to the nutrient reference values for protein, the recommended value for men aged 19 to 70 years old is 0.4 grams per kilogram of protein and 1.07 grams per kilogram over 70 years. So over 70 we actually need more protein than we do as younger people because of the chance of osteoporosis and bone loss and that kind of thing. For women, it's 0.5 grams per kilogram at ages 19 to 70, and it's 0.94 grams per kilogram for over 70 years old. Again, there's no upper limit for protein, but evidence does suggest that a higher protein intake may be beneficial for lean muscle maintenance and within a weight loss phase. It also increases satiety, so making us feel full for longer, and it's really good for our metabolism, especially when we're trying to lose weight. We want to maintain that metabolism as high as we can. So guys, thanks for listening. Basically, we'll just finish it with you taking home whether you are up for this kind of challenge. If you are, email me on my email below there. I'll also be sending you a follow-up email, and if you're interested, we can get you started, send across all the proper forms. It will be really fun. So keen to see you all there.